And welcome back to the Bitcoin Business Bureau. I'm your host, as always, LitecoinLeader. Today I wanted to talk about central bank digital currencies, or CBDCs, and the SWIFT system. And I'm going to share a story about that, but I'm going to go further into what the SWIFT system is really all about, some of the alternatives, and why you really shouldn't care anymore. Coming up next. So, the first story today is about SWIFT is experimenting with decentralized technologies to allow CBDC interconnection. They're playing around. They're trying to figure out how to get the CBDCs to work with SWIFT. Now, to really understand this and why it matters, the SWIFT is the legacy system. Okay, it's been around for quite a while, and I'll share this story. And I'm also going to point out so here's SWIFT. Okay, let's move that up there. So SWIFT has been around forever. SWIFT is a glorified messaging system. Let me find the description of what SWIFT is. So SWIFT is the Society for Worldwide International Financial Telecommunications. Those are 5 very cool buzzwords that they put together way back when this started. I think it started back in the 70s. This system, I can't find, let's see. When did it start? Hold on one second, I'll find it. So here's the history of SWIFT. It started back in 1973, not long after the U.S. went off the gold standard. So, but it is really just a glorified messaging system. Now, and it's not a settlement system. So let me explain that. Let me point out this article, which is a good one. Why China's CIPS matters, and not for the reasons you think. It's good. It's a good comparison of SWIFT versus CIPS. So SWIFT, they say 77. Close enough. Started in the 70s. We'll go with that. That's a clear answer. Now there's over 11,000 participating institutions in over 200 countries, because it's been around for almost 50 years now. Call it 45. CIPS started less than a decade ago, and it is a settlement as well as a messaging system. So let me explain that. Let's roll down a little bit. SWIFT and CIPS play different roles in international finance. All right. SWIFT is a global secure messaging system that allows banks to communicate with each other with high efficiency and low costs. It does not move funds. That is a huge, important thing to know. So the SWIFT network is basically, you've got mail, which means you've got money. That's all it is. It is a text message from one country's bank to another country's bank that says, hey, we sent you some funds. Go check in your books. It is not the actual moving of funds. It is not the settlement of funds. It's not a deposit. It's not a withdrawal. It is a notification system. That's it. It is like a pop-up on your screen that says, hey, you got money from Germany. The United States just sent you money. Germany just sent you money, United States. That's all it does. CIPS is a settlement instrument, and that is a clearinghouse. It's a clearinghouse interbank payment system. That's a new one called CIPS. So both these more modern systems, they settle the transaction in addition to alerts. Now, so there is, let's see, I think there's 3 things. There's the notification, then there's the transaction, and there's the settlement. So you can move the funds, and then you settlement of the finalization of the move funds. So first you notify, then you move, and then there's settlement. The nice thing about digital ledger technology, DLT, blockchain, the movement of funds and the notification you get from that through whatever system you have, just say your wallet gets notified. When you move the funds, that's settlement as well. It's all done. It's the one thing about, like, you can't reverse it. It's why you send a test transaction. You're not going to send $5 million as your first transaction. That's a bad practice. You want to send like $5, make sure it got there as a test transaction, then send the rest, because now you validated the path. You know that address works, that person got it, it's all good, then you can send the rest. So however you do it, in whatever number of increments you want to do, that's up to you. But the SWIFT system is a system that's 45 years old. It's only a notification system. And when they sanction countries that they say they can't use SWIFT, it's basically that those countries that use those institutions that are a part of SWIFT, you can't use those. But there are plenty of ways around it, and there are more each and every day. So, yes, while they are experimenting with central bank digital currencies and using the CBDCs and the SWIFT system, that's great. That's kind of like putting a supercharger on a 50-year-old car. It doesn't, or it's not even a supercharger. You're trying to upgrade a 50-year-old car, and it may not be compatible. So keep that in mind. So let me drop out of here and kind of summarize where we're at. So there you go. It's important to understand the difference between Swift and CIPS and everything, but the important thing is the blockchain, which is, for all intents and purposes, less than 10 years old. Now, I know that Litecoin is 10. I know Bitcoin is 12, 13. But for the most part, things really started to blossom for cryptocurrencies and digital ledger technology in 2014. That's where things really started to kick in, which is less than 10 years ago. But the blockchain is a record of all the transactions. You can get notified from it, and you also settle the transactions with it as well. So while Swift is nice and CIPS and CHIPS and all those other things are great, blockchain is the best technology that's out there for moving funds and being notified, and it's settling the transactions as well. You don't have to worry about clearinghouses or like waiting 3 days for funds to be approved, or right of refusal or rescission, and all that's done. That's all done. So every time you hear about the Swift system, at least for me anymore, I laugh, because I know the system is just not that. It's antiquated. It's not meant to. It has nothing to do with blockchain. There was nothing about it. It was way before it, and quite frankly, it's outdated at this point. So the global economy is changing. The globe is changing. All finance is changing. It's up for us to put all the pieces together and to see where it's heading before other people do, and hopefully we get there before we get involved before the price starts to appreciate. Not financial advice, but that's how you can profit from these pieces of information that you put together. So what are your thoughts? Share them down below. Let me know what you think. What do you think about Swift or the other systems? Do you think that the digital ledgers and the blockchains are just going to render all this irrelevant, and these international sanctions are going to go away in this mechanism? I'd love to hear your thoughts. Hashtag Swift down below. And of course, like and subscribe, share this video. I really appreciate that. So, a lot said today. I'm going to close the drawer in the bureau, say follow leader one more time, and I will talk to you soon. Take care.